Welcome to Chemified NG. I'm Dr. Kemi Olunloyo in Lagos. Today is the 29th of September 2022. Let's talk about Halima Abubakar. The time in Lagos right now is about 1:15 p.m. and it is Thursday afternoon. Halima Abubakar's case with Apostle Suleiman. The pastor's lawyers have issued an ultimatum for her to cease and desist talking about him. Everybody has been seeing what's going on, and you saw my last video telling Halima to seek for medical help instead of calling out lovers, past lovers, or colleagues online. In this video, I'm going to tell you everything I know about Halima, and it's going to be two parts. First of all, I call her a pathetic liar because she lies a lot. I've never met her. I don't know her. All I know is that as a journalist, I go to a lot of DMs of celebrities and public figures to ask for interviews and questions if I'm working on a story that revolves around them. Halima, told me sometimes late last year, I went to her DM and I wanted to know about this bleeding that she's having. She told me that she bled for 6 months and that her colleagues were responsible for that bleeding. She named the colleagues to me. And when she named them, I kept quiet. I didn't say anything. I was going to work on a story on it, And she knows that I'm telling the truth. It is not a lie, When Adame died, she brought her clout into that story. When I talked about Adame dying and saying that woman was a bully and terrorized me, Halima said, Kemi Olunloyo is an evil woman. She once came into my DM and I was not friendly to her. She wanted to be friendly. I didn't come to your DM to be friends with you. I came to ask you about a story, and you spoke to me in that DM. As I'm talking, I'm looking for those hard copies of those DMs because I screenshot stuff. And on my phone, it's like 20,000 things screenshot. I will look for them if I have to look for them. And there are other media outlets that she's already talked to about this problem. She said she bled for 6 months. Ultimately, she said she had fibroids, which is why she was bleeding. But now she's accusing Apostle Suleiman, of being diabolical and behind tying her womb, owing 2 children, and all these different things. Halima, you're the only one that knows what you did with your body. I said it in my last video. It is very important you seek medical help. There's so many STIs and STDs. When somebody contracts them, you don't go back to the lover or this or that or to the ex, or you go and get treated. How do we know you haven't slept with somebody else? How do we know how many sex partners you have? These are not things you bring to social media and start accusing one. If you have 5 sex partners, one of them could have infected you or something could have happened. That's why the doctors are there waiting to treat you. Part 2 shortly. Part 2, I'm Dr. Kemi Olunloyo, 29th of September 2022. I'm still talking about Halima Abubakar and her accusations of why she had a medical issue with bleeding. She said she bled for 6 months. She told me that her colleagues were responsible for the bleeding for 6 months, that they did juju to her. She mentioned Shan George. She mentioned Yabojo. She mentioned Ruth Kaderi. She mentioned Ini Edo. She mentioned quite a lot of names. I haven't mentioned these names before. But she suspected that they were doing juju to her to cause her that. So when she went to Apostle Suleiman's side and started accusing him of the same thing, she's contradicted herself. The fact remains that whether you had a relationship with the pastor or not, you have to look at yourself, your body, and why you're in this predicament. Some people say there are spiritual things that happen. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But in the medical field that I am, these are private things that you don't bring to social media. If you've traveled across the world, you've gone to Harley Street in London and all the medical experts around the world, then you can look at spiritual stuff. But can you pinpoint one person that caused your demise? No. Shouting up and down social media, accusing one pastor. I don't work for the pastor. I don't know Suleiman. I've never met him. I'm just saying straight up things. But I'm saying this now because Halima called me evil because I spoke out about Adame bullying me. So I spoke out and said, she said something about, she was trying to be friendly in the DM. No, I came to ask you questions about your health in the DM. Don't lie and don't start to look for clout. And now you've opened a can of worms. Okay, these names you mentioned, they can sue you as well for mentioning their names to me. I may not have done the story, but I know you were trying to get a lot of attention for that story. And it's in other publications. Okay, the person from PM News did the same interview with you earlier this year. It's there. So why are you accusing that pastor? I'm a little bit scared because he might sue you for billions, millions, whatnot. There are many diseases that can affect somebody. Syphilis is one of them. That one actually gets to the brain. It's an STD, STI. There's a lot of things that need to be done. Hepatitis C, if you have an enlarged liver. I have advised this woman, and she's not listening. Social media is not the resort. And that's all I have to say about Halima. Thank you for listening. Part 3, Dr. Kemi Olunloyo on Halima Abubakar. Now, when Halima posted on Instagram that people should watch the friends they make, her post was basically referring to her friends in Nollywood that she claims that have done juju to her, that caused her medical issues, bleeding for 6 months and so on and so forth. Okay, 10 months later, she's now accusing Apostle Suleiman. First, Apostle Suleiman's name was mentioned on Gist Lover, along with a whole host of women from Nollywood, accusing them of having an affair with him. Now, Halima also accused the same ladies and said some of those ladies are having similar problems as she is because they had an affair with Apostle Suleiman. So everybody that sleeps with Apostle Suleiman, allegedly, if it actually happened, is also suffering a medical ailment. Most of the celebrities she mentioned look fine to me. However, we don't know what anybody's suffering. You have to understand the legal issues here. This is a global story. I'm an investigative journalist. I'm not investigating anything. I'm just telling you what I know, because you cannot say something happened to you and then contradict yourself almost a year later by saying the same things happened to some of your colleagues because they slept with the same pastor. Have you guys realized my case with Pastor Ibiyomi, that Apostle Suleiman had an angle to this case? Some of these pastors are philanthropists and they help some of these actresses and others, but automatically it's pictured as, boom, affair. On Vivian Mechi, who was on the list, I can tell you what I know about Vivian Mechi. Vivian Mechi was the one that partly solved my Ibiyomi case because the storyline that was given to me, the journalist, that Iyabo Ojo was having an affair with Ibiyomi, which is completely untrue. Ibiyomi was an innocent victim, Iyabo was an innocent victim, and I was an innocent victim. The letter that the person wrote, a prominent Nollywood star, gave that letter to Iyabo's PA. Iyabo's PA was estranged from her, stole her money and ran. Bemini Adegbola. And that letter was sent to the journalist, who went to prison 6 months for nothing. You guys need to get your shit together. At the end of the day, what I'm saying here is they were accusing Iyabo of getting a car from Ibiyomi, but turned out it was Vivian Mechi who got a gift of a car and help during her sickness from Pastor Suleiman. They removed Suleiman's name, switched it to Ibiyomi. They added Iyabo's name from Vivian. So pastor does a good philanthropic help for an actress and you change everything. I think everybody should leave this pastor alone. It's not always an affair.